Ahoy there, mateys! Welcome aboard the Riff, Raff podcast. We are the pirates of the spicy waters. Come along with us and hoist the sail. We're navigating life through story and tale. We'll help you embrace the way you're wired, sharing laughs and lessons to get you inspired. If you join us, we will help you see there are a lot of ways to sail the neurospicy sea.
Nope.
Nope. Speaking of sensory issues, I'm going to blush. Good morning and welcome to Across the Desk. We are Riff, Raff on the podcast today. We are minus a pirate today. Our ever-loving Maddie Dever has had to attend to a family situation. So we send them hugs and light because it's not a great family situation they're dealing with. But we do have the rest of the pirate cast here. And I have to tell you, Mr. Coleman, and I have no idea why I consistently call you Mr. Coleman. It just is what it is. I could call you worse. That is a gorgeous shirt. What's that?
You do call him worse. Arctic lover.
It's not worse. That's a term of love. And I didn't come up with it, so it's not on me.
Continue.
Yeah,
I'm loving that shirt.
For that?
What's that?
Who do I owe for that?
Maddie.
That would be Maddie. So since they're not here, we can we can bust the crap out of them. So, Mr. Coleman, where did you get that shirt? For those of you not watching, Paul looks pretty spiff.
Well, if I tell you, then I'll see it everywhere.
You might see it on me because now I'm feeling like I need to go and up my game.
Believe it or not, a lot of the floral shirts and the really patterned stuff that I've been rocking this year.
You have
come from Old Navy.
Amazing.
I never would have guessed.
No,
me either. Yeah, no.
Okay. Because now, so Sydney and I have gone for your standard LBS little black shirt. Even though we're rocking July 9th in 24 degrees already at 9 o'clock in the morning. So Elizabeth will be changing before she heads outside into Satan's armpit.
Of the event I went to yesterday.
Oh, what is it?
So it's the People tour. And so there's an HR software company and they put on an event for HR professionals and they're like, oh, the People tour. And so, Toronto's not on it though, because it's a US based company. I'm like, so I was like, hey, you should put, I'm like, yeah, Toronto is the best spot we've been to, but yeah, we didn't think about it. I'm just like, next time. But yeah, that's the shirt.
People,
yesterday.
Step up. What are you doing? Leaving out the Canadians. But interestingly, this could lead us to our sensory thing. Do we want to do a little intro or do we feel like we've hit that number a few times and people should know who we are, or do we want to do that?
It's like, I think you said, like, people probably listen to the podcast out of order, so I guess we should. Just in case.
All right, since you're voting for it, Sydney, off you go.
Sure. So hi, everyone.
Yes, we should do it. I don't want to.
I got home at midnight last night. Cut me some slack.
Pretty animal.
Talking about sensory issues. So hi, everyone. Again, I'm Sydney Lane Butler. I do have sensory issues. I live sometimes, not all the time, because it's, it comes and goes.
Depends on the shirt.
And depends on the shirt. This actually is this is sensory friendly shirt. So, and I'm autistic. I have other neurodivergent traits, and I'm just trying to make the world a little bit better than I found it.
And they are an HR. For those of you that didn't catch on to the fact that they were at an HR an HR conference.
Yeah. Yes.
They're an HR pro.
Yeah.
Santa?
Hey, everybody. I'm Paul. I have ADHD, and I'm like Eeyore. No, I have ADHD. I have 4 kids, all ranging in their neurodivergent traits, and sorry,
and
my
a grandson
alarm's going off. Yes, I have a 5-year-old grandson. who's being tested.
If it walks like a
Imagine
duck
that.
and it has sensory
Right?
issues like a duck, it might not like tags in its underwear.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's me.
So I call
and
Paul
what do
Santa.
I do for a living?
Yeah.
I develop, most of what I do is developing e-learning.
Somebody's phone went off and it wasn't mine. That's okay.
I think it was mine. I thought I got my sound off.
It is yours.
Not mine.
I turned my sound off.
Shotty, not it.
My future
Paul
sister-in-law
is
is
also,
texting me.
so for those of you that can't see us right now and you're listening, Paul is also a part-time professional Santa Claus. And if you are lucky enough to see the video, you'll understand why. Because Paul sports this amazing beard 12 months a year, which makes me hot just thinking about it. But
I get that a lot.
oh yeah, like that would be. But then you have good ventilation on top.
Oh,
I'm not wrong.
Speaking of sensory issues,
That's sensitive issues, Sydney. That's different.
could be,
So my
I
name
think
is
sometimes it's related.
Valid. Ooh. Oh, that's put that somewhere to follow up. So my name's Elizabeth Plouffe. I'm the founder of Spiro Canada and the founder of Nimble ND, which used to be Socially ASD. We're doing some rebranding. I'm ADHD, and we go through my family. I have everybody in my family has something of some kind. My daughter's just been diagnosed ADHD, and I'm adult discovered through my son being diagnosed, which has been a relief. In that a lot of my sensory issues were tied to being ADHD, and I just thought I was high maintenance and sensitive and picky and all the rest of it. Turns out that's not the case. So it is a misnomer that only autistic individuals have sensory issues. It's coming out more and more that ADHD folks also have a high level of sensory issues. I'm not autistic. I've been tested, which I have. And I always used to think it was just me, that I was being difficult, that I couldn't handle it, like whatever it was. I have an extremely high pain tolerance. That's the weird thing. Very high pain tolerance. I have a high tolerance for things that other people can't hack. But then if somebody, we talked about it in our last sensory one, if somebody's nearby and clacking their change in their pocket, it drives me, I have to know where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And with ADHD, I can't screen that out, is the challenge. So we talked last week and we went into very high level around what each of us experience from a sensory issue perspective. And interestingly tied to this podcast, one of the things that came out. So for the last 5 years, my microphone's been broken and I didn't know. And I couldn't understand why Maddie would get so, have such a big reaction to my keyboard. And then Paul and I were on a meeting and Paul had a big reaction to it. I'm like, it's a normal keyboard, people. What's the problem? Turns out I had my microphone set up completely wrong. And it was actually hanging in a way that I thought I spoke into the top. But it turns out it's a cardioid. Paul, is that what it is? Cardioid? I think carotid. And you're supposed to speak into the side. So I actually had my microphone pointing down to my keyboard, which explains, now reflecting,
a lot.
It's all making sense now.
It's all coming back to me now. But has there been anything, right? So Paul and I are late discovered. Sydney, gift or otherwise, has known for most of your life that there's sensory issues and there's neurodivergence in play?
Well, I feel like even, I think sometimes you get I think we talked about it in the podcast before, how parents, you've met people at your trade shows and your events that you've gone to, and parents didn't tell their kids, oh, I'm not autistic, or I'm not this. And they're and that didn't happen. I didn't really know what it meant.
Yeah.
And I didn't know all the facets of it. Right. And so there's still a lot of unpacking those layers. And so, like you were saying, Elizabeth, it's I still thought it was just me. I thought it was just a me issue. even though it's like, and didn't correlate the two. Right. And so it's like yes and no, because I knew. And then, but it also still felt like, again, I'm like, no one else is like no one else is overstimulated. No one else is like, the light's not too much for everyone else.
Yeah.
And so that I go when I have a sensory moment, especially when I was young. I don't really do it as much now because having the more of the language with it. But when I was younger and I didn't have the language for it, but I'm having a gross attack, which I think I mentioned before. Yeah. I just like, because I feel so icky, just like, I just know I felt icky and like,
Yeah.
So that's how I know, but I didn't know.
You knew something was off, but you weren't sure. Right. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Brene Brown and Adam Grant have started a new podcast called The Curiosity Shop. And they're two of my favorite researchers on the planet. And they were talking about how people can tolerate loud music in an environment when they have the option to block it out or turn it down. Mm-hmm. And so the ability to tolerate the music, or like, to me, that could apply to any sensory issue, is if you have control over how it impacts you. So itchy socks would be awful, right? I don't have a sock issue, but seams are a common issue. But if you can take your shoes off and fix the seam, you can probably tolerate the discomfort longer than knowing that you are trapped in those shoes and those socks for the whole day. And until you can recognize what the sensory issue is and how to wrap some control around it, like, I think it would just bug you more. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's one of the things. So, Paul, one of the things we talked about with your shirts, what came to mind is what you shared before is you tend to pick softer fabric, like certain fabric shirts.
Yes.
And so if you find yourself, right, so Paul used to work in trades. Paul was in the mold trade. So there would be some things with that you wouldn't be able to change, right? Like there's certain regulations around what you have to wear and safety shoes and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Did you find that having those types of restrictions on what you could wear and your choices made it harder to focus? Reflecting now?
So the uniforms and stuff that you see in trades now, where companies are requiring people to wear, logoed shirts, and so you don't really have a choice in what you're wearing. I predate that. I left the trades before that trend really hit. So in order for me to draw from my own experiences, I'd have to think back to when I was working at Burger King in high school and had to wear polyester, Burger King uniforms. And I don't think I could probably I put that to, because that also predates my understanding of neurodivergency in myself, especially. And so I just knew everybody hated the uniform, so I can't really call from that. But I definitely can say that it doesn't matter if I have control. If I have control, I'm taking that shirt off if it's bothering me. Like I now know that I have to have at least 50% cotton in a shirt before I'll be able to wear it. Mm-hmm. So I can't really answer that well.
I'm just thinking back now. I wonder, like what Sydney was saying, I wonder when we've been in situations where we've been forced to wear uniforms for work or whatever, does part of our brain say, oh, everybody must be uncomfortable in this? Like, do we generalize how we feel? Because like, who would be, I worked at Swiss Chalet, folks, for 2.5 years. Nothing natural about the uniforms in any of the food services roles that I have had. And I just thought everybody couldn't touch certain fabrics or had an icky feeling with it or whatever. It didn't occur to me that it was just me. Whoops. So as you
Swiss
have...
Chalet in the 90s was the Hooters of Christian chicken.
Well, that's awesome. I'm stealing that. Where'd you work in the 90s? The Hooters of Christian chicken? Which you're not wrong. So for those of you that aren't born in 1975, the uniform that we are referring to, I had to wear a white smocked shirt, which emphasized certain assets. And then you had to wear a red polyester dress that was basically a Swiss Miss. And it's like, it literally had a string down the middle of it that you had to cinch it tighter. It was super not okay. It was not okay. But luckily you had like 5 other ladies on the floor that were running around in the same goofy uniform. Guys didn't have to wear that, by the way. There was no lederhosen for the gentlemen. They got to wear pants and a nice shirt, which I should have lobbied. Anyway, so thinking about sensory issues in the workplace, because what we covered last time was about sort of personal sensory issues and things like that. I'm wondering, Sydney, have you ever been in a situation, and it could be academic versus workplace, right? So now all of us are entrepreneurs, just for context. So we have some say in when we show up at a place. Like we can do some pre-checking around what's going to be there, prepare ourselves if you need loops, if you need a fidget, if you need whatever that is. But have you been in a situation, Sydney, where you've gone into a workplace and like, you can give both, like sensory's been insanely hard to handle and been good.
So I've mentioned numerous times that I used to work at a rec center, and we're at multiple rec centers, but in recreation. And for context, I also had to pay for my degree, which my parents paid for my advanced diploma, and then I had to pay for my degree, which I was like, oh, good. And so I would work a lot of shifts to be able to afford my degree. And so I did a thing called integration. So I would integrate kids that are neurodivergent and have disabilities into other programming. And so sometimes, and people would be like, what? And so I would go swimming. I have sometimes to go swimming and then go skating right after. Or go skating and then go swimming right after. And so I share
the opposite ends of the ice spectrum, if you will.
Yes.
Like,
and so some days I'd be fine, but other days, like every day is different. And so some and other stimuli that would contribute, that I'd be like, especially when I would go from swimming to skating, because being still not like drop as much as I possibly can, but I had
some
short
big hair
back then. I had short hair back then.
Oh, okay. So that would have been too bad.
Even then, it still took a toll. Some days, and I was like, sometimes I think I'm like, if I had my long hair, then I've been a complete nightmare. Like I've been like, I probably wouldn't have done it, but since I had short hair, it was more manageable. But it was still like my body's like, whoa,
still a lot.
And so that was some sensory issues, or going to different rec centers, and different rec centers had different maintenance. Like there was, and some rec centers were older than other rec centers, and or even like my main rec center I worked at, and it was the hub for the inclusion for adults and teens with disabilities for camps, and the light would be flickering. The teens camp was in the auditorium, and there was so many sensory things wrong with it, and I try to bring it to their attention, especially because we're working with this population. And
I'm just going to take a note. Keep going.
They were like, it's like, they were like, we're fixing what we can, like, and kept putting it off. And like, if it's bothering me, or like I would see that my participants in the program would be having behaviors, about to have behaviors because of the environment, right? Yeah. And I'm like, you need to fix this. This is a sensory issue, and trying to explain it to them. But they would just
if you don't go through it, you don't get it, right?
Yeah,
like, this is the challenge,
so they would
that
just
you don't understand it.
And blame the individuals if again, the individuals maybe have a behavior because of the stimuli, but not understand to actually change it. They'd be like, it's the person, not the environment. And I feel like with so many sensory issues, if it's not, again, kind of back to your point, Elizabeth, how you're like, I thought everyone had felt this way about the texture of the outfit. It's like people in the opposite end, people assume it's like, oh, if we don't have an issue with it, and you say you have an issue, you're the problem. It's because of you, right? And so, or the participants having a behavior because it's something to do with them, not our environment we've built for them to interact with. And so, I think that's a huge thing when it comes to sensory in the workplace, and how it can impact people and impact even like customers or clients in the workspaces as well.
You gave me 6 ideas, so I've written 3 of them down. But that's a really important, folks, for context, if you don't have any sensory issues, I'm going to unpack this, and I hope it doesn't re-traumatize Sydney. I don't think it will. So you get salty when the queen's not here. I don't know what's going on, but I like it. Sassy flakes. So Sydney's day, let's just pick the going from swimming to skating day, just for an example. Okay. So Sydney would have had to get up.
Oh, no, and I went to school that day too.
Oh, hecky thumb. Okay. So that morning, Sydney would have, we're just going to assume a couple of things here just for context. Got up, got ready, potentially including a shower. So a shower on its own is our first sensory issue of the day, because the shower is a combination of temperature changes, scents from shampoos and soaps, having to dry off with
I also have a trauma story from the shower, so it's even more layer on top.
Oh, so this is good. Okay. So not that that's good. That's not good, but that's good.
But...
So shower alone is the water hitting your skin, the temperature changes of the water, getting in and out of the shower, the texture of the towel, all of those types of things.
A trigger from another incident.
And trigger from another incident. So I'm not making light of it, but there could be ongoing, like hygiene. I won't use the word trauma because I don't want to minimize anything, but hygiene issues. Mm-hmm. So then Sydney's going to have to make their way, get through the day of school. School would have involved lights, sounds in the corridors, classmates, peopling.
Well, even though I had to take the bus to school.
I see. I left out transportation. I'm going to add a thing in there. So we're going to add I was going to say that too. Transportation. So we're at about, I haven't been keeping a ticky list, but we're at about 15 sensory moments before you've even hit the rec center. Mm-hmm. Then we got to change. We're doing skating first. So are we doing swimming first or skating first?
Skating first.
Skating first. So then got to change again. And skates on, make sure you've got all your equipment on, whatever. Arenas are cold with hot areas, noisy, fans going, potentially Zamboni, screaming kids in an echoing arena. I'm getting a migraine just thinking about it. Then you have to...
And there was a kid I was dealing with had really bad sensory issues themselves.
Oh, so you're dealing with their overwhelm. Mm-hmm. So now we're up at about 25 different sensory moments. Then we got to Wayne dangle all of these kids back into the change room, get them ready to go swimming. That's a whole other thing. So now we're changing. We've got temperature changes. We have fabric changes. We have more smells. Traditionally speaking, you need to have a shower before you go in the pool just to rinse everything off. Mm-hmm. So now we're going from okay temperature to, traditionally speaking, swimming pool showers are not warm. So now we're getting hit with cold water. When dangling kids, change rooms are echoey because they're usually concrete block and, keep them clean kind of situation. Now we head into the pool area. I have a massive issue with chlorine. It makes me not great. So screaming kids again, temperature change into the water. peopling. Now we're coming back out of the pool, wrangling the kids, showering off the chlorine, another temperature change, towels. Like, that's a lot in one day.
And then walking home.
Screw the bus. Who needs that?
Well, I mean, it was a this rec center. It was like it would be like a Friday night, and then I would take the bus back from school to the rec center and then walk home because it's only 10-minute walk from my house.
That might have been nice as well, because then you can take back some control, because now you can put your earphones on, block everything out, listen to some kind of noise that calms you. Uh-oh. Is there noise trauma?
Back to the shower incident, there was more trauma there, and this fear of seeing someone while walking home. So, a lot of sensory impact. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was a time.
It was a time. It was a choice. Paul, have you had a similar, like, I would imagine in the mold in particular, I don't know a lot. I know a lot of shop floors. I know CNC. Like, I know a lot of shop floors. I've stepped onto one mold floor, but the mold floors now are very different than the mold floors back in the day, I would say. Like Cavalier, for example.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. They're sensory overloads. I just like to put on the record that I don't have any shower trauma. But
me either. Show
How
off.
nice for you. I'm better now,
like
thank
Sassy
you.
Sydney. Sassy Sydney has come to play.
Nice. Love it.
So, Paul, from a trades perspective.
But yeah, from a shop floor can be a very difficult place to handle. For me, I can handle the humming of the machines. I can handle smells pretty good. Again, I'm still in discovery mode for a lot of the things that affect me, because I find a lot of sensory stuff. Some of it will affect me like immediately. I've had to leave restaurants that are too noisy.
Yep.
Because, well, I have auditory processing issues as well. If I'm in a room and there's a bunch of conversations going on, I can't focus on the person talking to me. I can't hear what they're saying. And so in a large room, it's very difficult for me. I have to be very, very focused. So trade shows, things like that,
draining.
When I'm talking to people and I'm having to listen to them, I am exhausted by the end of it. It's very, very stressful for me. But some of the things that bother me auditory wise are like I said, lots of conversations happening at the same time, or hard, sharp noises. So I remember
metal on metal.
We went on this one restaurant, and it was a tiled floored restaurant, and all the chairs were aluminum. And so everybody in the room, as soon as they would move a chair, it would like make this noise.
Nope.
And it was constant in the restaurant. And it was also, they had, done the aesthetic thing of taking all the ceiling tiles out. It was all open concept. So there's no noise deadening at all. And so every conversation sounded like it was happening like right beside me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we had to leave. And that's the first time I've had to leave a place because of sensory issues. And it really kind of made me more aware of how it affects me. But on a shop floor, like if somebody's hammering metal on metal, or if they're using the air guns to blow out chips or something like that, that's a very high pitched, sharp, almost like a whistle. That really bothers me too. But most of the other stuff I'm okay with. I did want to go back to something you said that if you have control over the sensory issue, you have less of a problem with it.
You might.
We talked about it. We talked about it last week, and I think it's very valid. One of my favorite stims is a clicky fidget.
I'm
And
aware.
Painfully.
And
thank you, Sydney. I am painfully aware.
but if somebody next to me was using a clicky fidget, I would want to rip it out of their hands.
Well,
So
you know it's coming to the next
it makes 100% makes sense 100% of the thing. You know, it's very valid that if you're in control of the noise, that's helping. You know, that can cause stim issues, but sometimes they can calm you down. My kids like ASMR.
Tell me more.
Videos. Have you, Sydney? Do you know ASMR?
Yes,
do you like?
I know
them?
Tell me more.
Oh no! Like, okay, so they record stuff with a special microphone that it's the mics are spaced like ears. They're like directional like ears, and they'll record themselves doing stuff like brushing their hair or eating something or doing something, and it's really cool because it sounds like it's happening to you. Like it's very, very, but to me, oh my gosh, it's so
no.
I love
Icky.
ASMR. There's certain ones that are like icky and ones, but then there's like a thing called lo-fi ASMR that you just a regular mic or and it's like lower quality, and it just like there's an Asian family that's based in Malaysia, and then their aunt does it. It's like it started with the niece, and then they just like tap on things and like
nope,
yeah, and it brings me comfort.
I'm honestly having an anxiety attack at the thought of listening to somebody chew. Like Maddie, last time we met, I crinkled something and they immediately leaned in and went, ooh, that's like, and I was like, no, just no. Like if I'm at a movie and somebody's that hour or whatever time frame it is, where people are putting their hands in the popcorn, it's everything in my power not to walk around and like throw the bags of popcorn. Or if somebody's like constantly crinkling some kind of candy bag to get their candy out, I'm like, have you not heard of Ziploc? What is wrong with you? Like, I think first, bring your own candy in because it's cheaper, and second, please stop. I can't. All of what you just said, honestly, Paul, I was having this odd like retracting.
But you don't. If you were crinkling a bag, getting your candy out, you would just block it out. You wouldn't even notice it.
Because I have control. Because I know I'm going to stop.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
If I don't know how long that's what irritates. The noise itself doesn't irritate me. But not knowing how long that's going to, my mother-in-law, we do not have a relationship, just for context, for a variety of reasons. But one of the things that she used to do that used to drive me batshit was I would get on the phone and she would be chomping on gum. And all you could hear while she's talking, she's chewing on the gum. And I'm like, okay. I said, finally, I lost my junk. And I'm like, you need to make a choice. Either you speak, either we speak, or you chew gum. But we're not doing both. I can't. It's in my ear. It's like somebody's putting a slug in there, and it's I can't do it.
Next week, our topic should be what's more important, your sensory issues or creating a safe space for others.
Oh, okay. But that's a really good point. Mm-hmm. Like, Paul's giggling away here, but what we did with Employment Works, I recognized that some of our folks were struggling. We had about 8 to 10 people in the room at any given time between the 3 facilitators and our
I think we spoke
participants
this last time.
Yeah. But we intentionally put a box in of completely different STEM things in there. Mm-hmm. One did cause a huge reaction to Maddie. So that one we just kept out because it was a blinking light thing and that wasn't worth, the juice was not worth the squeeze on that one. So we tried to have stuff, right? If somebody insists on having a certain STEM, that's just I'll be okay with that. I'll leave. Not in anger,
Mhm.
If you need that, I'm on board, but I can't.
Mhm.
I won't be able to focus. I will get completely overwhelmed. I will end up snapping the head off of somebody at some point. And I have to protect me as well, which I didn't do for many, many years. I just put up with it. And I'm, like, folks, I'm at the last half of my life. 0 F's given. Like, I literally, if you need that, that's okay. But I'm removing myself from the situation. Or we find something that satisfies your need for stimming and doesn't make me want to snap your head off like a dandelion. Like, have you ever watched The Kingsman?
Yes.
I always do movie references, just FYI. Paul, have you seen The Kingsman?
Yes.
You know the scene at the end where everybody's head, they reverse the chip in their neck and all the heads explode? That's literally what I visualize when some sensory issues are going on.
Is that the second one?
No, that was the first
second
one.
Kingsman?
That was the first one. The second one was that weird meat grinder. Julianne Moore, I think, was the villain in that one.
I don't know. I don't think I watched the second one. That's why.
Yeah, don't waste your time. It wasn't. It was not great. But that's really true. So then I had an idea after what Sydney said. Program development, workplace development, all those types of places need all types of input. And I'm in Burlington, Ontario. Very lucky to be working out of Tech Place, which is a technology incubator innovation space in Bateman High School. Well, what was Bateman High School is now Bateman Community Center. I'm not convinced that they invited folks with different abilities to come in and give input on the design. And I had advocated to, like, are you sure you've got somebody? I think they only looked at it from an accessibility perspective, not a sensory perspective. Feeling kind of confident on that.
I mean, there's some accessibility issues with it too.
Oh, okay. Well, we should talk more.
And Maddie said similar.
We should talk more. Let's figure that out, because there's a lot of issues. Sorry, there's a very tiny bug crawling down my screen right now, and I just want to smack it. So, if somebody has advocated and they have suggested to you that there's some issues, 9 times out of 10, they're not the only one. They're not being particular. They're not being persnickety. They're not being picky. There's likely other folks experiencing the same challenges. And it would do you a service to listen and to ask more questions. Like, be curious. Don't take it personally. I just found a quote by Maya Angelou, and it said, "Don't blame yourself for not knowing what you haven't learned yet."
I love that.
I'm like,
I love Maya.
Oh, Maya rules. And that really hit me, because I feel I'm behind sometimes because in my business or whatever, because I didn't know what I hadn't learned yet. It's not my fault. That's just the way it goes.
Did you say Maya? I was like, I'm about to explain.
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat how you said Maya's name?
It's Maya Angelou.
It's low.
Angelo?
Yeah.
We got to talk to Oprah, because I'm pretty confident Oprah says it that way too.
A lot of people do, but she said it was low.
Okay, duly noted. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Maya
I blame Oprah.
Was a special interest for a hot minute, so.
Tell me you're neurodivergent without telling me you're neurodivergent. No, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I will try and remember. I've been saying it wrong for a long time, so it may take me a minute.
A lot of people have. So
fair. Okay. Totally.
Sorry.
Coming back. It's okay.
Actually.
Don't you start. I mentioned it in the previous episode around sensory issues, but this takes me back to Leonard and Sheldon and the Itchy Sweater. And I wonder, is it in existence to have a sensory workshop where, for an example, everybody that walks in has to pick something to change, either to change about what they're wearing, like we got to put a pebble in their shoe, we got to add an itchy wristband to them, like something, and they have to sit like that for the entire workshop. Can't take it off, can't change it, can't do anything about it. And
Give
they
them all
have
hair shirts.
What is a hair shirt? Is it literally a shirt made out of hair?
It's made out of goat hair.
Ooh,
It's from
That's
it's
biblical,
an ancient,
isn't it?
it's an ancient Jewish tradition, and it's kind of like beating yourself.
Self-flagellation with goat
like,
hair?
Yeah, but you would actually wear this goat hair shirt because it would drive you so crazy that it was like a form of punishment.
There's a Bare Naked Ladies song,
Yeah.
and one of the lines is, "And this hair shirt I wear."
Yep. That's what it's talking about.
Well, look at that. Well, I
It's a
think Stephen
sensory
Page is Jewish. Stephen Page is Jewish, so that would make sense. But I wonder if that's to get folks to understand how it can feel, right? Like I've shared this story before on a different podcast, but 3 years ago I had to have pretty major ear surgery where I had a hole in my eardrum, and I had to go. So for almost a year, I had this hole. I have what's called hyperacuity. My son was diagnosed with it as well. And essentially our hearing is off the chain. Like, can hear weird sounds that everybody else misses. It's a blessing and a curse. And for an example of my son, this is going to make me cry. So he was in grade 1. We followed the school's instructions. We got an auditory assessment done because they thought Thomas wasn't listening. And it turned out he was listening, but just not in the way they wanted him to. So we had to get an auditory assessment done to confirm that he didn't have any hearing issues. Turns out his hearing is off the chain. So that means he's hypersensitive to a lot of sounds. Bathrooms were atrocious, the whole 9 yards. And I gave them all this information. I sat down, I advocated for my son. I advocated for what he needed. I gave them the auditory reports. I explained what they meant just in case they missed the agenda. And it took them 3 months to tell me that they had been keeping him in a gym class with 2 other classes, playing dodgeball and other loud games. And my son was in the corner crying. Every time. And they just thought he was being sensitive. And they just thought it was Thomas. I'm like, do you understand what you were doing to my son every time you did that? And it took you 2.5 months to ask me about that. You tortured him for close to 3 months, even though I gave you the reports, even though I gave you everything you asked for. Well, he didn't say anything. He's 8 years old. That's not his job. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you everything you asked for, and you tortured my son for 3 months. I'm like, you will not do that again. You see something like that, use the brains God gave you, and give me a call or pull him out of the class or whatever you need to do. But subjecting him to that is tantamount to torture. He can't screen that out. He can't process that. He doesn't even understand what being autistic means. He doesn't understand the sensory impact. And then you expect him to behave for the rest of the day after you've subjected him to that? Are you out of your cotton picking? And while I advocated for him in the moment, I truly didn't get it until I had my ear surgery where they repaired my eardrum. It had a pretty big hole in it don't use Q-tips, by the way, they're bad. And it took a week for my hearing to come back online. 2 weeks. And I underestimated what would happen and got up and I felt really great and everything was fine and hearing was working and went to the office and did a lot of peopling. And then I went to an event with a lot of not a sensory friendly place and a lot of high pitched women's voices. And then I had a lot of phone calls and was starting to feel tired, but didn't understand entirely what that meant. And then I went to the grocery store. And if you want to talk about a sensory issue, think about what happens. What's one of the, so I'll ask both of you, what's one of the first things you do when you go to the grocery store? Think about the process. You're doing a proper shop, not just like a run in and grab some ice cream shop.
Get my veggies because they're first.
But where are they going?
In the shopping cart.
In the shopping cart. So the first thing you do is go into the shopping cart area and pull a metal on metal cart out of the stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what if that cart happens to have either a wonky wheel or a squeaky wheel?
Most times they do.
Most times they do. Do you stick with that one, or do you swap it up?
It depends how bad it is. Sometimes I stick.
Sometimes you stick with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the Fortinos that I go to, I go in the back entrance, and right at the back entrance, what's there?
The back entrance?
Yeah. It can be, I mean, it depends on how their store is set up, but like even if you go,
I didn't know they had a back entrance.
the Fortinos at Appleby and New has a front and a back entrance. Yeah. So in my particular,
None of my grocery stores.
What's that?
None of my grocery stores have back entrances, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's in a strip mall, so you can go in either side because there's stores on the other side of it as well. But if you go into most stores, go into Longo's for an example, at some point there's all the cash registers and the self checkouts can be right near the front. So you've just taken a metal cart out of a metal cart. Has anybody ever experienced a quiet checkout area on a normal shopping day?
No.
What happens every time you scan something?
Makes a sound.
Beep.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's usually 4 or 5 self-checkout areas, and it bings every time somebody's using that. And then you have anywhere from 4 to 8 regular checkout areas. And it bings every time. Plus, I loved it in COVID when they widened the aisles and the big honking carts could get through pretty easily. And then they put them all back to normal. And so what happens when the cart goes through the aisle? Everybody's looking at me funny.
Yeah.
You not grocery shop before? Come on now.
Yeah, it's just a tight squeeze. Like,
but if you get somebody who's not paying attention, or you get a kid that's pushing the cart or whatever, it bangs, right? At some point it bangs. And then there's people walk. There's usually music playing. There's usually shelf stocking being done. There's usually carts going everywhere. There's usually people talking. There's, freezer doors opening and closing.
I'm just so overstimulated at the grocery store. I just block it out.
Right.
No, I black it out.
No. I'm totally on you. Right.
Yeah.
But before I had my ear surgery, I guess I'd either grown used to it or didn't pay attention to it or didn't have the same. I'd been so long since I'd heard it properly or heard it this way. And so think about that, folks. Everything we just described, right? We described what Sydney's day is like when they go get ready in the morning, get ready to go to work, all of those types of things. We've all, either been kids ourselves or had kids that have to get ready in the morning, similar to what we described for Sydney. So getting them up, getting them dressed, getting food, all of those types of things. My hearing came online right in the middle of the grocery store. And it just hit. And in that moment was when I truly appreciated what a severe sensory experience could be for somebody. And I don't think we do service providers or teachers or event planners a service by not somehow exposing them to that. That's why I was asking for all the steps and all the noises. Because do we even think about it anymore? When you just know to prepare yourself for the assault, right?
Prepare yourself, yeah.
So what do you think could be gained if, because this would be fun for me to set up, if we could set up a workshop experience where folks had to sit through sensory issues for 3 hours? How could that change workplace development? So, Paul, if we think about a shop floor, what could we do differently on a shop floor that could help folks?
Well, one thing we could do is we could make hearing protection more of a standard and less, is it stigma attached to it? Or
I would
less
agree.
Yeah, because most of the shops will provide ear protection, but it's like you can wear it if you want. You don't have to. So nobody wears it because nobody wants to be the guy walking around with headphones on or like ear protection or things when nobody else is doing it.
Yeah.
Right. I really appreciate it when we go into a larger company with a big HR and everything, and PPE is mandated.
Yeah.
Like most of the smaller shops will mandate eye protection. In fact, I don't know any that don't mandate eye protection or safety shoes. Yeah. But because there's the rules around ear protection has to be over 95 decibels or whatever it is, on a regular basis, or, individual noises that are above a certain amount. Mm-hmm. I don't think a lot of the shops measure that properly. And so they just, they'll say, here's ear protection, or, you can wear them if you want to, but it's not required. And
it's that language, wrong. If you want to.
Yeah. And so nobody wears them. In fact, I remember doing a safety video at one of the shops, and I asked the guy, do you have, like, we're doing a day in the life. We have to get ready for it. So I have to make sure you're wearing all your PPE. Can you put on, I need you to put on your safety glasses, put on your ear protection and all that for the video. He's like, I got to put on my ear protection. I'm like, yeah. So he had to dig around in his thing, and he found it. And you could literally see him as he's filming the video, and he puts it on, and then he kind of looks around at everybody like, you could tell it was like this peer pressure thing, like he didn't want to be embarrassed because he was wearing ear protection, which is so silly. If I took my phone, like I've told a lot of because I teach trades, I tell my students that you have a smartphone. You can put a sound meter on your smartphone. Mm-hmm. So these are all new to the trade. I said, you're going to look around, you're not going to see people wearing ear protection, but sit down at your workstation, open your smartphone, if you're allowed to have them, and launch this sound meter app. If it's going above 90, then you need to wear them, because it won't sound loud to you, but long exposure to that level of noise can really hurt you. And I don't know, I'm trying to make a difference telling these kids to wear them, but I doubt they will. But, if people with sensory issues, where it's a little better now, like my grandson wears headphones to school when he's having a day, right? So it's a little more normalized now, but it's going to take a while to get it into the shops, that normalization. And they're always behind when it comes to that kind of thing.
But I wonder, like with Avi, is it
my grandson?
Yeah.
I don't like to name names, so
sorry. I'll edit that out. Sorry. It just makes me sad. Like, it just makes me sad. And not for your grandson, sorry, but what I mean is companies are more focused on immediate danger than long-term damage. And we have a situation where if it's not going to immediately puncture through your foot or result in an immediate call to WSIB or an immediate call to the Ministry of Labor, well, some of that becomes somebody else's problem.
Yep.
And meanwhile, folks develop tinnitus, or they end up with hearing loss, or whatever it is, because we've decided that protecting yourself, isn't workplace acceptable. And if we're looking at kids and they end up on a bad day, what immediately came to mind is, was he dealing with sensory issues? Like, could wearing the earphone, and I'm not judging, I'm asking. So this is totally from curiosity. If he ends up on a day where he needs the headphones, does he then actually need the headphones every day? And I wonder if that's what happens with folks, is that, well, today I'm okay. Oh, no, and today I'm okay. Oh, and today I'm okay.
So you're not.
And then I'm really not okay. Where if we had proactively said, you know what, like I love watching Sydney. I was picking Sydney up from the train, and I would always watch when Sydney was coming out. So they either came out from, like, 2 entrances or exits, and I always watched, because I knew if they were coming out with Franny, their support cane, that, okay, this day was, they always led the way. Like, I never assumed anything, but I did know by that I needed to ask you when you got in the car, how is it today? But I loved that you always walked out wearing your headphones. I was like, good for you. Because there's like a lot of people on the train and the buses and everything else that Sydney had to navigate. And then they knew they had to navigate me and Princess Dever, that's not with us today, unfortunately. And then all the folks in the room, like proactive protection. Paul, could we?
It's fun.
Sorry,
I would also be wearing a mask on the train,
Yep.
But when I would take it off before getting into your car.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Paul, could it be the messaging? Could we look at messaging around headphones or other protective gear and change the view to be proactive protection, like future proofing?
I have a point before Paul.
Jump.
That's okay. So like you said, my headphones, or so my cane, for example, is a mobility aid. But I think now the world slowly but surely now sensory aids and what that looks like in our world, and how I went to an event yesterday, which I think I mentioned at the beginning, and people were like, I wanted to bring my fidget thing, but I wasn't sure. Then I'm just fidgeting with my ring, right? And they're like, "What's that?" They were like, "Oh, like," and this at the end of the event, you're like, "Oh, it's a fidget ring." It's like, I have fidget things in my backpack. I have like so many in there. Anyways, I bring them everywhere. But if I want something more discreet, or just like to have on my person for easy access, I have my fidget ring now. And they're like, "Where'd you get that? I want one." And so I think just normalizing the conversation around sensory aids and what does that look like for you and what you need.
Can you see it? You inspired me. And I don't, by the way, so I used that word with Paul the other day. and they looked at me and they're like, what? I don't use that word loosely.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, so we were at a conference, and Sydney was very wise and had a notepad and was doodling. And I just went, ooh. I'm also a 0 F's kind of gal. So I will worry about certain things at events, but if I need something, I need something. And I'll find
I'll do what I need to do.
What's that?
I feel like I'm the same. I'll do what I need to do.
I knew what I need to do. So I ended up buying, you can't see it very well, I have a doodad on right now. I bought this pencil case because it also holds my fountain pens, which I like to bring with me because they make me happy. And I didn't last time, and it made me very unhappy. So there is a notebook in this pencil case, and there is non-clicking refillable pencil crayons. You did this to me. And I have another little notebook to go in there upstairs because
I don't even have all that.
What's that?
I don't even have all that yet.
We will share.
I had a feel. I just used, they gave us notepads at the table, and then someone gave me a brochure, and it's like, oh, I can use this as a ruler to make my lines.
It's
And
awesome.
then I was like, I was gonna be okay with just drawing the shapes. I love coloring in too, but I was like, I can just draw the shapes. It's better than nothing. But then I went upstairs. There was I can't remember. It was called like Zen Den or something. I think the sensory room was
I
called.
didn't go in. I should have.
I went in. I wanted to go in before, but I was like, I went in. I was like, let me just go explore the sensory. I was like, I need more sensory. And then they actually had pencil crayons. And so then I borrowed pencil crayons from them. And they said I could take the whole thing. I was like, no, I want to, because other people need them. Or they're like, come back and take more colors if you need. I was like, I appreciate it, but I'll probably just use these ones. Picked up ones that really stood out to me, and then brought them back downstairs and colored in. And it was also, I've been doing that. Like the style of art I did, I've been doing since I was a little girl in school too, and it was calming in school. And to now do it at an artistic summit, it felt a very full circle moment for me, and it's what I needed in that moment to focus on the speaker and stay awake. It was a part of it too. I think people don't recognize that the tiredness also impacts your sensory, right?
100%. Yeah.
So all that together.
And I think, well, I want to wrap up with, not wrap up the whole thing, but I don't want to lose the thread of, so thank you for sharing that. That's the first time that particular conference has gone to those lengths to provide socially normalized sensory tools. Sorry, I'm doing the face because I'm questioning my language. It's nothing to do. I loved that they did it. I didn't want to use the wrong language around that. So doodling for a lot of folks is a way to control sensory input and focus. So having that little kit, we'll go back to what we said at the beginning. When there's something you can control about the situation, it can offer the opportunity for you to handle more stimulus. So Paul, going back to the earphone conversation, is there an app? Because I love the idea of that sound meter thing. I didn't know that. I mean, there's apps for everything. Is there one that you recommend?
There's so many of them. I would just go with the highest rated one on Google Play or whatever.
Okay.
It's just measuring sound. So
do you think if we started, so part of what Paul and I do is focusing on neurodivergence in manufacturing and trades. And I've spent the last 7 years doing that. Met Paul through a project where we were focusing on trades in neurodivergence and employers. It was a smaller project, and that's now grown quite big. Could that be something, Paul, that we introduce language-wise around normalizing those things as a proactive, like if we change the language, does it change the outcome?
I think so. You started the question with, or you started with the statement of that people, unless there's like an immediate danger, that's why people won't adopt it. And so I think it's twofold. I think it's definitely an education piece, that it's, everybody has seen somebody, not everybody, but if you've been in the trades long enough, you worked on shop floors, you've seen somebody get something in their eye, or you've gotten something in your eye, even working at home. How often do we, use the squint technique to keep stuff out of our eye when we're working with tools because we don't want to go get our safety glasses, and then you end up getting something in your eye, right?
I've literally closed one eye.
So
you got less targets.
But yeah, so it's easy to get somebody to understand why they need safety glasses, or had something drop on your foot. Crush injuries are very high. If you look at WSIB, the statistics for workplace injuries.
Oh, yeah.
The top 10 are like, trip and fall, lifting heavy things wrong, so straining injuries, they're all your standard ones you'd expect. Except what's really funny is number 10 is workplace violence. You wouldn't expect that in Canada still, but
it happens.
In the top 10 of workplace injuries is caused by workplace violence. Anyway, you don't see hearing on that list.
Yep.
But are they tracking the long-term damage?
Probably
the
not.
guys who are retiring and all have tinnitus, like you said, or have hearing aids now. Those are workplace injuries, it's, but people don't see them as immediate. And so I think a lot of it is education, but it's also, you mentioned earlier about headphones and, people only wear them on bad days and everything. But just because you start the day with a basket full of spoons doesn't mean you want to give them away real quick. Right. It's understanding that the headphones and these things that you're doing to protect yourself will allow you to have spoons at the end of the day and not run out of them halfway through. Right. It's not just because, I'm out of spoons, so now I got to put my headphones on. Right. Now I'm really being triggered by these things. It's protecting yourself early on. Yeah. Right. Early in the day and early on, to make sure that, because we can't always control the noise around us. We can't control these different stimuli that are around us. We have some control over where we go and what we do, but not always. Mm-hmm. So finding the things that work and help you get through that long day without, crashing at noon or coming out of your workday coming out of workday at the end of the day and being useless for the rest of the night because you just need to recharge, right? Why give it all away at work? So, just because you got through that day doesn't mean that you have that you're doing the right thing for yourself too, right?
Well, so all of us have stuff we come home to that we have to take care of. I have 2 kids, dog, husband, not in that order, and house, but also fun stuff I want to do. Paul comes home to 4 kids, wife, granddogs, grandkids. Sydney comes home to Oreo, Gordon, family, mom, dad, family. Well,
I'm the oldest daughter.
Yeah. I love that, Paul. Like, love that.
Paul and his nuggets.
Not in a dirty way, but Paul is... I don't know. Chicken nuggets? Like, I don't know.
Gold nuggets.
Thank you. Well, you didn't specify. I'm just... Sorry.
That was me quoting you back to you and quoting what you said previously, Elizabeth.
Would not be the last time that somebody throws my words at me, and I'm like, "Yeah."
This is a weekly podcast, so there's more. That's what I got.
I had a weird thing happen when I was 12.
Yeah. Just so you know, I have a hard stop coming up in about 3 minutes.
It's a very quick story. I was playing soccer. I had a weird thing. I used to have to flip my hair back to be able to lie down on my pillow. I can't handle the sound of hair against my ear and the pillow. It drives me batty. Can't do it. And I remember thinking, other people must do this. And I talked to a girl on the soccer field and I said, so, hey, do you ever flip your hair back before you put your head down? I was just trying to find somebody, anybody who could help me understand, who might also have the same thing, whatever it was. And she proceeded to make fun of me for the rest of the season. And tell all her friends. Yeah, there's hair flipper and whatever. So one of the reasons we have these conversations is so that there are other folks out there who are dealing with similar things. Nobody's all the same, but all of us have some kind of sensory issue that we might be dealing with. There's different ways to solve that. And going back to the beginning of the conversation, if you can find something that keeps you steady, whether it's the texture of your shirt, whether it's a scent, like whatever it is, then Like, let's find a way for you to feel comfortable advocating for what you need that helps keep your spoons in your basket.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to be able to continue and give to the world every day. We want you to feel safe. We want you to, whatever success looks like for you, we want you to get to there. And sensory issues shouldn't be the reason that we can't get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Any final, I mean, Paul's already wowed us with his wise words. Any wise words, Sydney, to wrap up? Or if Paul has more nuggets, gold nuggets, good nuggets,
Silver nuggets.
all the nuggets.
I think I kind of like listen to yourself if you are the one experiencing, like what you experience is valid. And so listen to yourself, like, it's like, and listen to when you have a reaction to something, or when something doesn't feel right, or you're having a sensory moment, and be curious about learning more about what that means for yourself, what supports can you do for yourself, or do you need other people to support you. And in that vein, if you are supporting someone else, or if someone tells you that they're experiencing something, they're probably not trying to they're not being picky, they're not being particular. It's a real issue. And like Elizabeth said, they're probably not the only ones experiencing it.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it. I look forward to next week when we see what kind of shirt Paul shows up with. I feel like it's now a thing.
Oh, pressure's on.
Pressure's on. I'm just saying. And now I got to go visit Old Navy again. Thanks for that. We really appreciate everybody coming out. And, if you're listening to this on your headphones, awesome. Keep going. We wish you all the spoons in the world. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. I did it.
Unprompted.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Elizabeth Blue from Spiro Canada, one of your pirates on the Riff Raff podcast team. My fellow pirates include Maddie Dever from Autistic Bridge, Sydney Elaine Rutler from Accessible Creates, and Paul Coleman from Creation Designs, who is our very own Arctic LARPing Santa. Thank you for joining us on the Neurospicy Seas, and we wish fair winds to you all.